And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. So, I just want to go ahead and talk about this one topic, and this one topic is binging shows versus watching them weekly. So, this has been an ongoing topic that I've been questioning my own self about, especially after binge watching season 4 of Stranger Things, and then also to, I ended up loving Stranger Things, but there's things within binging shows in itself that made me question certain things. Like, for instance, think of streaming services like a buffet line, right? They offer some of the best original content for consumers. Take your pick down the line. You have HBO Max, you have Disney Plus, you have Netflix, you have all these streaming services, and also Amazon Prime. And, you're going down this line of this big, huge buffet line of streaming services. And, Netflix was actually the first one to actually do the binge watching thing. And it was actually something new. Consumers weren't used to that. We were still on that whole entire weekly buzz of actually watching weekly shows versus binging a whole entire series. So it was something new. It was something new that the consumers wasn't used to. And as a matter of fact, I wasn't used to it until I started watching the Daredevil season one series on Netflix. Whenever I was able just to binge the whole entire show versus watching individual episodes. Also, too, those episodes are also not um, advertisements or anything like that being interrupted. You get the full 1 hour show. And that's something that hasn't been done before. And then once you get into this whole entire spectacle of these streaming services, it can be convoluted. It can be paying just as much for cable, if you think about it. But the real question at bay is this: is it better to binge watch TV shows versus watching TV shows weekly? And, when we and get this at buffets, guess what? We always wind up seeing the best food that we can actually eat, and then we consume that food to the point where basically we wind up binge eating to the point where we don't want to go back for seconds. That could also fall in line with the streaming services itself. After we get done binging what we want to watch, we could wind up being so full to the point where we don't want to go ahead and watch anything else on that streaming services. So therefore, we put that dish aside, and then we move on to the next dish, which would probably be your Amazon Prime, or it could be HBO Max. Pick your poison, and basically, then we consume on another way. Now, here's the thing, and this is something that I really like that Disney Plus is doing with their shows like Mandalorian. Then you also have Obi-Wan and Book of Boba Fett. Is the fact that you're watching weekly shows. What weekly shows to me is this: you're able to watch a TV series and slowly intake what you're watching, which is also intaking of slowly eating what you want and being able to digest it easily, being able to consume it easily. And also, too, here's the thing where this is why I don't really like binge watching TV shows that much anymore compared to where I was years ago. And that's for the simple fact is streaming services such as Disney Plus and Amazon Prime that consumers are enjoying weekly shows more than binging certain shows allows us to slowly digest our food, or we can call it shows, to where we can speculate on what might happen within a certain plot point within a TV show that we are watching. So therefore, we can actually use our imaginations with our friends and stuff like that, and go by that one episode on what our favorite scenes are. And matter of fact, even whenever I was reviewing Stranger Things season 4, and those episodes were actually really long, because we're talking about maybe 3 to 4 hours of binging because of how long those episodes are. And because of that, I wasn't able to remember some of the character names in the show. There's 22 characters within the Stranger Things episodes and casting, so therefore some of the character names I might have forgotten. There's also certain plot points you might actually forget. There's also other things amongst binge watching that you might actually forget about. Therefore, you have to go back and rewatch a certain episode just to refresh your mind on what happened. Now, if you watch one episode, you're able to slowly digest it and you're able to slowly take it in and just watch that one episode for what it is. And then you can talk about that one episode with your friends, talk about your favorite scenes, what didn't work within that episode, and then go from there. And then you can also speculate and use your imaginations, which is something that I feel like what binging TV shows is not allowing us to do, is allowing us to have a chance to just breathe a little bit and being able to just be like Al Bundy sitting on a couch and unbuttoning your pants after a long day of binging or just a long day in period, and you're just wanting to watch a TV show and just let loose. And to me, that's what something is actually what's missing. Also, too, if you actually think about it, like in this kind of context, though, too, is this. With HBO Max, yes, you can binge, but they only allowed you maybe 3 episodes, which is what they did with uh, Tokyo Vice. Then also too, even Disney Plus with um, when we actually look at uh, Obi-Wan, and then of course when we also look at the boys we ended up having 3 episodes. So those are just a little taste of letting us come back for more. And I feel like that's what Netflix needs to do. Just give us little small nuggets to where we want to come back and watch that content versus us watching it in one whole. Because if we watch it in one whole, there's no reason for us to come back to that service. So therefore, why should we even bother until we actually get the next show that we're going to binge? After we get done binging that show, there's nothing else for us to binge. So therefore, we go to the next item in the streaming services in this whole entire buffet line to the point where we're actually full once again. So it's one of those things that I just feel like, weekly shows are a lot better because it's easy to consume. And it's easy for me to come back to a streaming service versus whenever I binge a show and I just feel full to the point where my pants won't even button anymore. I'm like, and you feel like that you can't fit any more into your mouth. And that's what I feel like. That's what I feel like at times when I'm binge watching a show. I don't have that overjoyed of excitement anymore. And there's just new ways of actually doing things. And I feel like weekly shows are a lot better. And like I said, shows like Stranger Things, we're looking for the next show to watch ever since Netflix embraced us with the binging of TV shows. And it has always been the norm. And I like binge watching shows just as the next person, but with the binge watching shows, we can have a tendency to forget characters' names, like I said, plots, and forget about certain scenes. Streaming services such as Disney Plus and Prime shows that consumers are enjoying weekly shows more than binging certain shows. Allows us to, like I said, slowly digest our food, and also too, we can invest into those characters better, and we can properly remember things in a series versus binging a show. With streaming shows weekly, it allows the consumer to come back to the streaming services versus when you binge a show, the consumer might not come back to the service until another show piques their interest. And that's the dangerous things of when you're looking into this whole entire thing of binging versus watching something weekly. So for me, weekly is actually the way to go. Binging is the old school of ways of thinking and stuff like that, especially when consumers change over periods of time to the point where you actually have to do something different with your marketing. You have to gear towards a new audience. You actually have to do your marketing different. You have to think about the future. You can't just think about now and think about this is how you're supposed to consume things, especially when we were at this age of consuming certain things for Netflix. So, anyways, that's just my thoughts on that. I hope that you guys enjoyed this little small segment. Don't forget, tonight, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, I'm going to have Brad from Canada from Scene Invaders on, and we're going to be doing our Leon, the professional review tomorrow for tonight. So, with that being said, always until next time, guys, I hope that you enjoy this. And don't forget to like, don't forget to comment below, and have a great and safe night. And